Casting.
Tanks, I heard tanks are coming to PUBG. Have you heard that?
Have you heard that? Don't even start.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Just go away, Poro. All right, as we're making our way into match number 6 here, last one of the day. So with this, we're going to be moving into the halfway point. Only 12 games to decide who manages to make it into NPL Phase number 3.
And on top of that, one of the most fair planes, I would also say. I mean, straight down the middle for the most part. Teams on the east and west have to stretch a little bit or try to find vehicles on a road, but otherwise, I mean, this is a good way to end the day. Let's just see where the circle goes.
On this plane, do you guys go Zarky or you try to go for Milta?
On this plane, we'd probably go Zarky, honestly, because dealing with Ghost and trying to get through Milta is just kind of a pain in the butt.
That is fair. That is fair. And we see a couple of teams dropping on Military Island here. Shook actually going towards Novo here.
I was going to say, sometimes we also stretch Novo, so it looks like Shook's definitely taking some plays out of the book, but they've been doing actually really well.
So Godspeed, this is kind of your go-to pick for one of your teams, and they're kind of doing some things that we've seen Rumblers do. Is this coincidental?
What are you trying to say?
I'm just trying to say, are you feeding over some strats?
No, honestly, you know what I honestly think it is? I think it's Waldo, because Waldo's really close to Mystery and Leda, and he's probably just leaking everything that we do.
Well, I mean, look.
Or you could go the other way with it and say that Shook has actually been doing their homework, and since they...
That, I think, is the ideal.
I mean, they were playing in those spots before we did, technically. So they played from Chuma, they played from Milta Power. So this is just something I feel like they've been adapting and they've been paying attention to MPL, and that's why they're making good decisions.
We have a fairly friendly last circle moving into Game 6 of the day. See Vicious Gaming already on their trek back down next to Yaznaya, so getting a little bit more space. They do have 2 members up next to Severny as well, sending 2 already down inside the circle, and not seeing Yaz get a lot of attention. This is kind of a smart rotation coming out from them.
Yeah, no, I'm actually surprised no one in this lobby really loots up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm not sure who normally looted up in Yaz at Contenders, but apparently whoever it was is not in this lobby. It has been pretty free and clear.
By the way, I'm calling it. This thing's going south.
You think so? Going south? All right. Hey, look, I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, but again, also, we haven't had really the most ideal planes for going Yaz up until now.
That's true. That's fair.
So it could just be a thing of coincidence here as we see
Blue Martini Game kind of posted up. I mean, just had a good last round. They've got Lego Your Ego just down to the south of them. Over in Georgia Pool, no big rushes that need to make their way over towards the circle. Smoking Aces tends to play closest to them over in Rajak, other than Lego Your Ego, so no rush in any form and fashion to make it to the safe zone.
I'm interested to see if BMG can carry the momentum forward and actually get another good round of points here for themselves.
Roth might find himself into a little bit of trouble here as Unique is looking back over towards him.
That's a cheeky little angle.
He's got 20 rounds.
I mean, he's got 20 rounds in the mini and 0 for the car.
Well, here's the problem. You have Little Prod already going ahead and getting into a flank position. I think Roth is starting to put 2 and 2 together going, maybe I'm just going to take a couple of shots at this, but there's a lot of trifecta people just circling around him right now.
I mean, this is definitely greedy from Roth, considering the rest of the squad looting up in Milta. I mean, they did drop a little bit farther, but you know that there's a squad that loots around the farm area.
Well, I think that Trifecta is trying to figure out if it's just one member. So Roth takes the shots, and Unique just capitalizes instantly.
He only needs 8 of the 20 bullets that he had.
See, plenty of ammo to work with there. And just going to go ahead and finish it off as Unique gets first blood onto Roth.
That's definitely not how you want to start the last game of the day.
Not if you're
Sonics doesn't want to start that way either, as Tony V's taking a couple shots over his way, but Vexel just gets dropped by Tiggleton. We know to expect that coming out of Tiggleton.
Jeez, and now they're going to get pushed here. Voxic's still alive. He's going to try to provide some support here, but Sonics, we know that they're going to push that, and that is such a smart play, throwing the Molotov.
Again, center is what they want, center is where they're at, center is what they're going to take. That's how Sonics has been rolling so far.
Look at this. This is unrelenting from Sonics. They are just flooding down into this. Grenades everywhere. McLovin's trying to come up and provide some support, but it's, again, long-range shots forcing him away from this. Smoking Ace is also over here, and look, the push just triumphant coming out from Sonics.
Wow. I mean, that is confidence.
These guys are bullies.
They are absolutely cyberbullying this lobby right now as they make their way through. I mean, Voxic, that was such a smart play, throwing that Molotov on the staircase while he went for the res there, trying to make sure he didn't get pushed. But again, doesn't matter. Sonics is just like, We want this. We're going to take it.
Already on the move again. They're like, all right, we got that. Now
They
let's
want
go
Death
hunt
Road.
down somebody
They
else.
just leave it there like we just wanted to prove a point.
They want Death Road, honestly. I mean, and this is where I like seeing a team like Sonic's play from. When you're confident and you're wanting to take these fights, this is the spot for you.
I think they are going to split, but this is somewhat of a dangerous split, though, because this dirt road is notorious for having multiple teams with multiple angles pushing, especially a lot of third parties happen on that road.
Well, with Death Road, you hear us talk about it quite a bit. Mainly, you're just kind of that dividing line just north of Farm. So you have great sight lines up towards the north and the south. You've got some cover pieces you can play around. Naturally, there's also one of the little sniper towers over there as well. The problem comes in from egress and how many different people can push that direction, hence why the duo is very dangerous.
And we see BMG making their way down from North George, crossing by Mount Everest, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not getting it in that conversation again, even though it's not the biggest mountain. I know, I don't care. Stalber's bigger, but BMG safely pushing through here, staying together as a squad.
They're going to get a free rotation in, honestly.
Yeah.
There's nobody on their side of the circle right now.
I mean, they've got low-key. You can see Smithy just off to the south and west here. But it looks like they're just going to, pretty much get in here for free. I mean, Pachinki is clear. I mean, everybody has kind of gone hard center here.
Well, except we have Vicious Gaming and Lego Your Ego kind of getting into a spot where they could vie towards each other. Sonic's taking a couple of shots back over towards Simplicity, but it's going to be Mardonis taking a couple of shots over at Frank the Tank, who takes a lot of damage. Frank the Tank has to hold around that angle, and a grenade's going to come out. Is that going to connect and take him down? He's just got to run away from it as fast as possible. Mardonis still connects and gets the down onto it.
Rolls down the hill for Mardonis. Fortunately for him, he was able to push off that, push off the rock away from Frank the Tank's grenade here. Finna just not in a position to really provide any support for his fallen teammate.
And the rest of Vicious Gaming is still in the process of rotating, so it's kind of stalled everybody. They are inside the safe zone, but it's kind of led to this really weird skirmish that's happening where Lego Your Ego is surrounded by Vicious Gaming players, but they don't have sight lines back over towards Lego Your Ego.
Yeah, and on top of that, this is all happening in a very awkward position for both teams, if I'm being honest, especially with the split that VG has.
You know, a little bit of a push coming out. Finna, I think, is already kind of trying to leave this location. Well, actually, he's making his way a little bit closer. I believe that feels like he has enough support, so could make it back over next to Frank the Tank.
Way.
Are they just going to let this go? It looks like Lego Your Ego is retreating back down to a more defended spot, and Finna's going to sneak over here and get this.
You have got to be kidding me. Lego Your Ego, if you're in that position, you cannot play that passively. I mean, to not even get the kill onto Frank the Tank there.
And Volcano is such a strong position to hold as well. I mean, for the most part, especially when the team is only approaching you from one angle. So that's honestly really disappointing to see from Lego Your Ego.
A little bit too passive, trying to play for safety inside of that. They don't get any points for the kill, nothing for the down naturally, and Vicious Gaming, who's trying to make their way back up in the NPL.
Well, I mean,
they managed to get a good spot.
From the first, I was worried. I was irritated with Vicious for keeping the form that they had. I mean, they weren't really providing any pressure except for taking some long range shots, maybe from Reno and Fozu. I mean, it felt like they were kind of giving up on their player, but then, LYE just kind of, handed it back to them. So. No harm, no foul here for Vicious.
But we've kind of seen that from Lego Your Ego. I would say early aggression is not one of their known commodities.
I mean, I think just overall, they're a more passive team. They're one of the more passive teams.
100% agree.
And they don't really play to this meta's strength. And a lot, like we talked about it earlier, the three of us, there's a lot of teams that are like that, where they don't play to the meta's strength, and that's why they're still struggling. So Lego Your Ego, I think, is definitely a team, unfortunately, that fits that category.
Prophet Godspeed
circle.
Not getting his way as we're going to make our way back over towards the west instead of down towards the south.
Hey, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen one of those circles today, so.
So BMG actually finds them. Okay, BMG.
Yeah,
it looks like BMG and Wildcard are both going for the same exact compound. It's going to be the Pachinki Barnes, and Sharpshot's going to be landing first. Is that two ghillie suits?
Now Sharpshot taking a couple of shots, but look at that. Everybody from Blue Martini Gaming managed to get into that position, and it's just an exchange back and forth. Basher goes down and gets a spray back over towards it, and so many shots coming out. Wildcard is just starting to take control over this fight.
Absolutely huge coming out from Cade, preventing the flush. Now one remaining up for BMG. Clam is just trying to stay alive here as he is holding down. He had one grenade to his name, and look at this. Sharpshot gonna get rezzed here. Clutch play from Caden.
That's also one of those situations, though, where it's you shouldn't always go for the flush. And I feel like he rushed at just going for the point. He ended up getting caught, and he got taken out because of it. And in fact, that actually swung the fight completely in Wildcard's favor.
That is absolutely what Wildcard needed there. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, no, BMG, they've got one down. So two have been picked up already, and Clam is just going to hop in the vehicle. Looks like they're telling him to try to get out of there.
Yeah,
maybe.
This is late that he's trying to get out of there.
Yeah,
I think it's
not
the
happening.
opportunity has passed. Now he just gets to live in this house.
And as long as Wildcard decides to let him. But if you're Wildcard, I think you just try to throw out your grenades here, see if you can find something.
Well, at this point, they should know there's only one player left.
Yeah.
So if they really want to, which, to be completely honest, they should clear this. They should clear out their compound.
Yeah,
they
they're
can
not wasting
split
time.
barns. They can take care of Clam.
Oh, Clam, you needed to hit that.
Ooh.
Decides to go for a grenade instead.
What happened to
So
what in
dangerous over
good
here. BMG's
God's green earth.
Clam, what do you got left? You know the fact that you have 4 different members of Wildcard, and this is a bloodthirsty Wildcard. He jumps out,
Where's the
looks
guy
back over.
watching?
I think they already lost the tire on that vehicle, so instead it's going to go for the mind game off to one side. Goes for the spray, but not gonna get it.
Ooh.
Wildcard just denies Blue Martini Gaming, who goes out in 15.
Why? With a Mark 14,
which
at close
is
range.
the most disgusting full auto weapon up close. The time to kill on that gun is absurd.
I mean, I was questioning Wildcard for not kind of keeping a guy on the outside to watch for the jump, but
Sure.
I mean, it ends up working out in their favor. Tumai coming in clutch there, picking that up. I mean, we saw Accelerate get wiped. I'm not sure what happened there. Hopefully we'll be able to pull up a replay here in time, but Finna now taking some shots here at God Squad, not Godspeed.
What is big right
Hey,
now
I'm right
is
here.
6th
right there.
and 7th are both now down and out.
Correct.
That
That
could
leaves-
open up the leaderboard a little bit more for everybody trying to get into that 6th place spot and make it into the NPL.
Yeah, the door is now wide open for some of these teams to come in, take those 2 spots, and go into tomorrow with even more momentum and the confidence they need to qualify for the NPL Phase 3.
I mean, I think especially if you're Wildcard Comets, I think you need to be in that top 6 going into tomorrow. You want to be able to come. You don't want to have to fight your way up with 6 games remaining.
Well, Vicious
any
Gaming
of
is
the
in 8th
teams
right
below.
now. And look, they've got God Squad that's trying to push up right next to them. A little bit of a reposition coming out from Frank the Tank, but you can see Finna just trying to play off of a back foot, aware of the fact that he's being pushed from one angle. And I gotta say, they're kind of running separated out. Fozu doesn't have an angle to really protect, and they've got Relo way away from this. You can see up on the map right now, everybody from Vicious Gaming is separated out all over the place.
Yeah, not sure what happened here. I think maybe VG was in the middle of a transition or sent Reno out to scout, and then God Squad just ended up right on top of them. So the fight ending up pulling off. Nothing coming of it just yet. It's just a trading of grenades for right now.
But this situation right here is the perfect. It's basically the perfect summary of why it's so difficult to play in these lots. Wait a second.
Oh, wow. Finna gets the angle back over onto
Clean.
one.
That barrel is so nuts up
Oh,
close.
look at the push coming out from the other side of it. Frank the Tank now aware he's in some trouble, looking around, trying to get a little bit more information. Surely he has to get fed back over that there are 2 members of God Squad back on the other side of this. Does see one on the other side of the wall, but Frank the Tank still looking around. Fozu's got the other angle back over towards Nitrogen. God Squad does have the angles, but you can see everybody from Vicious Gaming that's in this location is just trying to hold it out. They know they don't have the
Reno
numbers.
is taking so
Yeah.
long. If he can actually get there, he can make a massive impact on this fight. And I gotta say, Frank the Tank and Fozo are doing a great job of holding this, just the 2 of them alone. But I really need Reno to get there as fast as possible and support his teammates.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they actually made the call for Reno to push back.
There it is. He's got the angle back over towards Nitrogen. Does not get him down,
He
though.
needed that so badly.
Oh, and here we go. We've got a little bit of a push off the
Let's
side.
go.
Triggs goes down. Now God Squad, 2 members still up and active. Numbers now firmly in Vicious Gaming's control. Keep in mind, this is not inside the safe zone. The Blues now encroaching over towards them. What play do you make? And it looks like Vicious Gaming is just happy with their points. Gonna opt away from it.
And this is exactly what I was saying right before we saw the fight actually engage. This is what's so scary about playing in these lobbies sometimes, whether it's contenders or relegations, when you have these mixed lobbies, you never know what another team is going to do, and you often get caught in a situation or in a fight where you just shouldn't ever be fighting in the first place.
Also, I'm okay with Vicious pulling away from this fight.
Yeah,
considering
no,
the
that's
Blues coming
smart.
in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Matra was just pointing out the south side of the circle is about to get absolutely nutty here.
Yeah, we
As
have
3
Shook,
teams.
Comments, and Loki all starting to meet over right around the same spot. Vicious Gaming does manage to make it back over towards School, so they're going to get a little bit of safety. But
Whoa.
there you go. You got
Whoa,
Whoa
Snake.
right next to Shook, slowly creeping up. He can hear the firefight. Keep in mind, Loki is just off to the west of this, so Woe is kind of the front man for comments right now, trying to creep up and forward. He has 2 different members back behind him that need to make it into the safe zone. And this is the only path. When you're separated like this, you have to provide some type of cover, but no play coming in yet as everybody is playing so passive.
The other massive issue for this little concentration of teams that we have is the fact that low-key is now starting to encroach on their position, which means that not only does Sub-Zero, actually Snowboard is going to go down, not only do they have to cross the street, but they have to do it against 2 teams, not just 1.
I mean, you have 2 members comment right over here next to Shook. Instead, they're having to just try to crawl their way across a no man's land and letting Shook spray down into him. At what point does Comets decide to step up and take the shots?
I mean, this is supposed to be the point of the front men, right? Woe and Matthew are supposed to be providing some support here. Yeah, it looks like Matthew's coming alive now, gets it down, and the flush. Protege going to try to turn it around and get involved as well. Woe's coming alive, though.
But it's low-key. Low-key off to the side. Chubba Bubba gets the down onto one of them. Shook's now in a little bit of trouble. They're trying to make their way up and forward, but Comets taking a lot of damage. Only Matthew, the last one alive. But it's going to be Loki that does have an angle back over here. VZ still on the hunt. I think aware that there's 1 member left, but Matthew is just praying that these 2 squads fight it out right now and give him some type of safety.
Just too little too late coming out from Comets there, as they just, you know, the 2 front guys were not providing any support for their back guys to try to make their way in. No smokes were thrown down, no utility used, nothing. So Shook able to pick up a couple of kills there as Protege going to heal up, and it looks like they're going to be able to avoid Loki for right now.
I'm just curious if both teams have even looked at what the circle has done to them.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got Pecadores now just off to the east as well.
There's 4 teams here on this. Does look like low-key saved their vehicles, which is very important and obviously very smart of them to do. They're going to be rotating in, but they're also going to be rotating right next to Shook now, as Pecadores is going to start taking shots at these vehicles. They need to move. They need to get out of there.
Yeah, the circle's coming in. Matthew's crawling up and forward. Ops away from going with the UAZ and instead just going to try to run it in. Somehow, Protege runs through a ton of squads. What is even happening for him to get in that spot?
Mystery ran over Fignalda. I don't know why Fignalda decided to stop and get out of the car right there, but Mystery coming up clutch. Smithy going to end up finishing him off. But yeah, now Shook in a lot of trouble here is VZ all the way out the outside. Protege has managed to make his way in there.
Are you ready for a party? Because we've got Wildcard, Low-Key, Shook, Smoking Aces, Pecadores, Comets, all pushing into the same spot.
Oh, man.
This is bananas here. You can see Pecador is now too strong. They're getting involved with Low-Key as they have Matthew right behind them, VZ right behind them as well. This is just a cacophony of cluster F here at the bottom south of the screen.
Pecadores is not expecting this. Matthew tries to capitalize, doesn't get the down that he needed there, so that's just going to be a spin back around from McLovin. But the continued fight is going to be so long from here. McLovin's going to go ahead and throw out a couple of smokes. Don't forget, one of the members from Shook, VZ, is now back behind them still. Low-key, not even in the safe zone, still just trying to be in a gatekeeping position. It looks like everybody is just going for points right now.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me right now is LYE. They have a good position in the circle, yet they hear all the fighting that's happening south. They could potentially third party, but at the same time, I understand why they're not, and I'm not going to fault them for it.
VZ gets one. A lot of damage comes back his way. He's out in the blue. He's just going to go ahead and get dropped by McLovin. I got to say, Pecadores is just running and gunning their way into the safe zone, just fighting every single team along the way.
Yeah, McLovin going to go down now, and it looks like Smurf is too far away to really have any hope of trying to get that res. He's going to try to take his shots
long range
here at Wildcard.
That is a beautiful nade coming out from Tamai.
Wow.
Even just curves it back down the hillside. So Wildcard, cool 7 kills
and
right
here
now.
Here comes LYE now, finally taking some shots, coming down onto Wildcard.
So Vicious Gaming, they do have Simplicity off the side of them. Seems like this has happened to him a few times to him. Just 2 members of Vicious Gaming alive. Tossing out a couple of grenades, just trying to get a little bit more space, but it seems like Simplicity aware that they have the numbers advantage. Let's see where this new circle goes.
Yeah, Simplicity wants to clean this up pretty quickly. Yeah, that's a nice circle right on top of Potato Mountain here. Simplicity realizing that they have the numbers advantage here, but they don't want to take the risk of overextending here and maybe losing one for free.
I mean, there's no reason to go for the push into the shack.
Yeah, they're
right
going to have to come
Instead,
to you eventually.
Just go ahead and keep them out.
Yeah,
I
hold
like
them
this
out.
Simplicity.
I like that. I understand that, but at the same time, when you have an opportunity to clear 2 people out, especially if you can hold them down with, like, whether it's gunfire, smokes, or what have you, it is also smart to get rid of that threat early so that it doesn't come back to bite you in the ass later.
Well, there's no other teams around this location. The north is just these 2 squads. everybody is just clustered down around the west and the south as we've been seeing in these firefights.
Yeah, the southern edge has been absolutely bananas here.
It's
as
wild.
We check in. Simply, as you said, I mean, they're in a good spot here. They're in a position where they can just hold this and wait for them to push out.
That's the thing. They're still holding them out, but they're also staying aggressive enough to the point where VG knows they have nowhere to go.
Oh, grenade gets tossed from Lobes off to the side of that. That's going to make it even harder for Vicious Gaming. Let's be honest, at this stage, it's just a matter of time. And there we go. Pencilolo lines it up, gets the shot through that little bitty window, but Lego Your Ego still trying to make it over towards the safe zone, now encountering several different squads.
Oh boy, this is just the kind of the story of Wildcard's day as they try to make their way in here. They're getting pinched between two teams, managed to lose 3 players to mine, now the last one left alive. Just going to try to stay alive for a little bit longer. Smoking Aces, though, in a gatekeeping position right here.
9 teams still at this stage, with as violent as it has been, still alive. 23 people. So
23 alive in Phase 5. That's the kind of circle of the game we're looking at right now.
And again, everybody is still back down the south. Look at that mini-map. There are just a ton of teams all stacked around this spot. So Tamai manages to creep back behind him, but does get spotted out. He's going to get dropped, and therefore we move down to 8 teams as Wildcard gets eliminated. Lego Your Ego still just kind of hanging out off to the western side.
Yeah, see, Sharu's down for Smoking Aces right now. They're not looking like they're attempting to res him here. Mortified just trying to solo snake his way and stay alive a little bit longer. Simplicity on the rap patrol right now. They have not been able to spot him out just yet.
One team to keep an eye out or ear for is going to be Sonics, still 4-man alive. I say that as Keenan managed to line up over towards Smoking Aces. Mortified, though, got to figure out what he wants to do, as it looks like everybody from Simplicity is just trying to scope this out, get a little bit more information. Smoking Aces and a little bit of trouble, as you can see, everybody from Sonics just separated along this hillside.
Yeah, they tried to go for the res on Sharu. Unfortunately, Soapy gets spotted out by Sonics. And now Smoking Aces is trying to trade something back here. Crow and Define Legit not giving up without a fight.
You can see him just crawling around next to the rock. One member of Sonics just trying to crawl forward, get a little bit more information. Smoking Aces is out in the blue right now, so has to be extremely cautious. They've got to move forward. They do have the last remaining member from Shook along this angle, as well as Lego Your Ego, so no clear path inside the safe zone.
Yeah, Sonics is honestly taking a lot of damage in pursuit of getting this one kill, which I believe they finally got. Soapy's also going to go down, but they potentially put themselves in a bad situation.
It was especially to res, not the kill. They're back up to 4 members.
Right, they were, but they took a lot of damage and they wasted potentially some time, especially if Elevate decides to come in and hold that southern edge.
Well, Lego Your Ego is the team that I've got my eye on right now. We've seen them being very, very passive towards the beginning of the game. This is their time. They're looking back down this hillside. They have a high ground position on 2 different teams. So Smoking Aces literally has to run uphill with teams in front of them. So don't forget about Protege off to the side, the last remaining member, just kind of holding this angle, waiting to see who encroaches up next to him.
Yeah, it looks like Crow had spotted out LYE, was taking a few long-range shots here. Meanwhile, Define Legit's just going to go ahead and get inside the circle. As you said, Sonics back up to 4 strong on the south side of this circle. Have to make their way in still, but keep an eye on
Crow.
Simplicity.
That's not the rock you want, Crow. Crawls done, and it's going to be Sonics that are going to force him around the other side. He spots him out and takes him down.
Wait a second.
What is happening?
This guy,
Oh, PUBG things.
The easiest
right there.
kill Crow ever got in his life is Define Legit is going to get one and flush off of LYE, but to get traded out immediately, followed by third line. So LYE down to 3 now.
And what I was actually worried about for Sonics is no longer even in play. Elevate decided to just kind of take it slow. I didn't realize they were actually only 2 up, which makes a lot more sense now, which means that Sonics is going to get in for free on the south side.
Sonics should be able to push in from the south. Simplicity, again, they've had control over the north for so long. Crow's the last guy for Smoking Aces. Got a little bit of loot down underneath of him, but still just ring around the rosy onto the other side of the rock. He knows that this is going to be a uphill battle, to say the least.
Protege just AFK'd there for a while. It looked like it just
I think he went to the restroom.
the restroom maybe. Here's you see shots coming out from Sonics onto Crow. They might be able to finish him off as we see the kind of terrain that we're working with here. Sonics on the south side of this hill. Simplicity has a northern on the northern side of the hill. I mean, all of this really is just all playing on different sides. There's no lines of sight to be found here right now.
But here's the thing. We've got Sonics, a very active team. They want to hunt down points right now. And they see smoke just huddled around a rock. Ooh. They're going to push up over next to that. And there you go. Crow gets taken down. Now it's going to be Smoking Aces going out in 5th.
At this point, Sonics is extending their lead so much that they could average 2 points per game tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure they're still safe.
7 kills, 4 people still alive. We've got Grizzly that's under fire from them already. Circle does pop. Almost every team already inside the safe zone, except for poor Grizzly over there.
Yeah, Simplicity too, honestly. Simplicity is another team that is also very, very healthy on points right now.
Yeah.
The team that I'm really looking at to see how they end up playing this out is actually LYE. LYE is definitely struggling at this point.
No, this is definitely good news for people on the bubble. They're definitely rooting for Sonics here to take as many kills and get as many points as possible. But now look at LYE starting to get involved.
Yeah, they're starting to push down behind this. They hear this firefight, and this is what you need to capitalize on. Try to be that third-party influencer, but it's just a touch too late.
Exactly. Not only is it too late, but as soon as these two teams fight, Simplicity is they're gonna hear that, they're gonna see that, and they're gonna smell blood in the water, and they should come clean it up, depending on how long this fight does take for Sonics.
Wow, I think Tiggleton must have spotted somebody out there. Maybe there was a shot from LYE. Either way, definitely taking that low flank here, spotting out people and making sure they don't get pushed here or wrapped on.
LYE has to be so cautious. They're
Simplicity.
kind of separated out. Anytime they take these shots, that's going to allow both of these squads to push right in, make a pincer position back over towards them. Let Go Your Ego is going to end up fighting on 2 fronts at potentially the worst time. Simplicity, though, is just getting more and more control over these high ground positions.
Simplicity taking the good spot and just waiting to see what happens here. They have the good terrain. They're trying to spread out a little bit. You can see Check Shooter has been sent off to the east here to make sure that they don't get wrapped on, which he's going to be a very important figure because it looks like Sonics has wrapping in mind.
Yeah, they're pushing around the outside of this, aware of the fact that Lego Your Ego's in that position. Keep in mind, they all know 11 alive. Have to assume that there's some snakes hiding out among there, but they don't know. They've already cleared out everything. This is squads all in close range, but Cherry Poppins has the perfect close range gun. Gets the spray onto one. Lego Your Ego's in a world of hurt. Getting shot from one angle, already one down. Mardones has to drop down to his belly, taking a lot of damage, but Cherry Poppins can just spray for days over here.
Yeah, this is not looking good for LYE, especially on the receiving end of a Cherry Poppins grenade, as well as the M249. Now it looks like it just might be Mardones. That was a good nade.
Sonics is also pushing on the other side of this. You can see Tiggleton off on the side of this. Now it's just turning so catastrophe. If you're a Lego Your Ego fan, Sonics pushing up on one side. Just one member alive, and that's going to be Zetas just hanging out inside of this. Tony V has to be so cautious.
Oh, he saw him.
Now it's going to be a little bit of exchange, though. I got to say, yeah, it's
right on top of your head.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit too far out. Some damage goes through there. It does get down onto it. But Simplicity had to hear that. Are they going to opt into playing this a little bit more aggressive or not? Now going to go with a couple grenades.
I actually respect the fact that Tony V backed off there.
Yeah.
They realized, look, there's no reason for us to get involved in a third party, especially if Simplicity wrapped on them, which it looks like they might try to do, or at least Check is watching that. So I do respect the fact. I mean, we know this team is aggressive. It's not like they're just being passive. I think that was a smart play.
Yeah, you could see, I mean, just from the way Wooly is positioned, you can see he pulled off of that. He said, okay, let's pull back. Let's make sure that we don't get wrapped on from the north side. We pulled off of our wrap to go third party the LYE fight, got a couple of kills, or got at least one kill off of it. Let's just make sure that we win this game, come home with a boat ton of points.
Yeah, I think it was really smart.
I think everybody's just kind of holding their angles right now, trying to get a little bit more information. We do have 9 alive in such a small circle, but I think that's due to the terrain. You can see there's rocks, hills, divots everywhere, and that makes it so nerve-wracking as you have to make these pushes. You never know where the next angle is going to come from, and Lobes playing on this rock, just trying to get a little bit of a height advantage, seeing if he can spot anybody out.
Simplicity would love to finish this with another 5 more kills. They need all the help that they can get to make sure they secure their spot in the top of the leaderboard here. Sonics should be feeling all right. Really, it's just a question of, can Zetas do anything here for LYE?
You say that, but it's Sonics. They're going to want every single point that's over here. These guys
they've already got 9
greedy
kills.
whenever it comes down into it. They want every single point they can humanly gather.
I would not be... I don't know who's going to come out on top here, because honestly, both of these teams having phenomenal days so far today, Simplicity and Sonics. Obviously, Sonics currently in first place. Not sure where Simplicity's sitting overall in the leaderboard, but they've been having some really good games.
All right, Zetas.
Pretty sure in the top 3.
Yeah.
Circle's coming in now. Everything's collapsing down towards the center. Now it's going to be about positioning through this terrain. Zetas is going to have to be one of the first to move. Looks like Lobes does finally spot out a couple of members from Sonics. You can see them now coming alive, trying to find these different angles. I think that they're aware of where Zetas is at, but it's all about just holding down towards the center positions. So now Sonics starting to separate out, playing different angles onto this. It's going to be about how Wooly manages to make use of that flank position.
Yeah, I like this from Simplicity, not being greedy here. They know that these rocks are the strong position. They want to try to play around these as much as they can. Eventually, they are going to have to leave that and start heading towards the center of the circle, but they're not going to push out until they are actually forced to.
The X factor is Zadis. If that moment he takes the shot, if he opts into doing it, you're just going to see it just turn into chaos. Tickleton spots him out and denies it.
Doesn't even give him the chance, giving them 10 kills. That is ridiculous.
Tickleton's vision is so damn good. I feel like he could spot a snake in the grass from 500 meters. As here we go, the smokes are coming out. Let's see what Simplicity can put together here.
But Wooly's
So
using
many
the smokes to go around the outside. Could end up on the other angle from him. Lobes, I believe, did see that. No, actually was taking shots on the other side of it. It's going to be Wooly finally does take the shots, but there's so much utility down right now. Vision is denied everywhere.
Oh, a hell of a wrap.
Does have the flank back behind this. Can he capitalize? You can tell he's waiting for everybody else to get in positions. Got the angle back over towards one. Cannot get the down. Actually does get Cherry Poppins. So now retreating back off of it.
Flashbang's going to come out. See what he can find here as he's still managing to work the edge here. Pedal's going to go down.
Oh, but Tony D!
Checks down, Lowe's down.
There it is.
Sonic's just running over everybody.
Ridiculous.
I mean, that was about as clean as you could possibly ask for. I don't care if you're contenders, NPL, PEL, Korea, whatever league. That is a clean win that you just saw from Sonics.
14 kills at the end of that, and they were already at the top of the leaderboard. They have got to be feeling moving into tomorrow. They have NPL right in their grasp.
Yeah, I mean,
they belong there. They absolutely 100%.
I don't want to be this confident in saying this, but they might even be able to like not even show up tomorrow and still probably qualify at this point.
I mean,